Hello everyone, it's me, Michael from Game Cave, and this is going to be kind of a different video. Basically, I'm starting out this new segment on the channel called Theory Cave. I have a few theories lined up. One on White Diamond, for Steven Universe, and one about Zelda Breath of the Wild and where I think it belongs on the timeline. This is going to be a little bit of a different video though. I wanted the White Diamond one to be the first video in this segment, but since this is pretty recent news and I wanted to kind of jump on the bandwagon and get my ideas out there before it started getting cluttered on YouTube, I kind of wanted to share my thinking. Yesterday, at least what I saw, was yesterday, July 14th, the Incredibles Facebook page released a photo, kind of like I guess you could call it a poster of the Incredibles 2. And it's kind of like just what I think is kind of like a first glance into what we can expect from the Incredibles 2. So I'm going to dissect this photo and see what we can get out of it now, and kind of make some guesses or theories about what I think we can expect from the new Incredibles movie. So let's jump right into it. Starting from the left side and going over, what we see is Dash, Frozone, and Edna Mode, and we know that all of the characters from the original movie, other than Syndrome, are going to be returning. Many of them with their original voice actors, except for Dash, who I heard is being voiced by the guy who played Arlo from the Friendly Dinosaur movie, the Pixar movie that just came out. I never saw that one. I haven't really been keeping up with Pixar recently, just for reasons. But I heard that Dash is going to be voiced by him now, because I think his original voice actor was a younger kid, and his voice probably just matured since then. So they're probably looking for someone who can be close enough to his voice without having to completely write out the character because of a voice change. Okay, so that's that. Frozone is definitely going to be in this. Samuel Jackson he tweeted out some picture of him in the recording booth, captioning it with like first voice over session of the Incredibles 2 or something like that. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the picture, the poster thing that we got. Edna Mone's going to be in it. She is going to be voiced by the guy who voiced her originally. Yes, she is voiced by a guy, if you can believe it or not, if you don't already know that. I think she's going to play more of an integral part in this story, just because so many people loved her in the original movie that I'm assuming they're going to bring her back, and a little more deep. So sliding over to the left a little bit, to the right a little bit, what we see in the bottom corner, the bottom left-hand corner, we see the drill that the Underminer comes up with at the very end of the first movie, which is mind-blowing. I'm very curious if they're actually going to pick up exactly where they left off and fight against the Underminer. I know that there was a video game released where Frozone and Mr. Incredible team up and take down the Underminer. Maybe it's possible that they could be like just finishing him off at the beginning of the movie, or like maybe he is like appears for some reason in the movie. But they probably wouldn't have added him in there if he wasn't going to be important to this next movie. So I kind of think that there will be some segment including the Underminer at some point in the movie. So I'm going to theorize that he's either the main villain and the video game that came out is not considered canon anymore, or he is just a minor villain who will just be at the very beginning, and they'll probably just be taking him down altogether, and he will just be kind of an intro character to all of them again. Then we see Mr. Incredible. What surprises me about this is, even though you can tell that's Mr. Incredible, his logo doesn't seem to be as visible, and actually none of their logos, the ones that you can actually see, are Dash's, Mr. Incredible's, and Violet's, don't actually seem to be visible. Not even like an eye for Incredible like they were in the original movie. So it makes me wonder, maybe they're going to be doing something different with the logo. Maybe they're actually going to include the two in there somehow. Maybe they're like the new Incredibles or something like that. That would be weird, though. Maybe they'll come out with some new logo that will be different. But anyways, I just think it's weird that they didn't even include kind of like a look in the logo, because that is really what defines the fact that that is the Incredibles, is their logo. You know, like if you're going to make a superhero movie, you're going to want to show that they have, you know, the logo that defines them. That's the thing. Like when you see Batman, you see a bat. When you see Superman, you see the S. When you see any other superhero, you see their individual logo that defines them as that. I know it's Mr. Incredible. I know that these are all of the other Incredibles, but I feel like maybe they're going to be changing up the logo somehow. And that's why they're keeping it kind of low-key in this little poster thing that we got on the Facebook page. Okay, if you keep moving along toward the middle where the big logo is, the Incredibles 2 logo, I feel like it's very important to point out there are 6 heroes in the background, kind of in silhouetted form, that are all different shapes and sizes. Some are smaller than others, probably, like in the distance, you know. But it is important to point out that they're there, because I think that these heroes, these new heroes, either they're new heroes, which I'm assuming that they are. They could easily be villains, but I'm going to consider them to be heroes. I feel like these are new heroes that came to light after the end of Syndrome, and Syndrome's extermination of heroes, so that they are pretty much kind of the new heroes that maybe are being trained by the Incredibles. Mr. and Mrs. Incredible are teaching them how to be heroes, kind of like a new generation of heroes, perhaps. Why I say this is because I think these character designs, if you look at them carefully, are quite unique. They could have just easily put in a bunch of simple designs that look like simple heroes wearing capes and boots, and have perfect jaw lines and hair, flowing hair and stuff like that. But they all are pretty unique. What I see on the left-hand upper corner, I see 2. There are 2 heroes that I'm assuming are heroes. One of them being the bigger one. It looks like his legs are kind of connected, probably just to... I'm assuming that he has 2 legs. I'm assuming it's just a look to make him look like he is... It's to make him look like he's flying. You know, like how they have connected legs when they're flying. I believe that he will have 2 legs, and I'm assuming he's a he. I am going to go ahead and assume what I think of all of these characters. I just think he's a he just because of his general build. I could be wrong, you know, but I think he's a he. And it looks like, if you look so carefully, it looks like either he's wearing some sort of Dracula-esque kind of cape thing that wraps over his head, kind of like Martian Manhunter too, if you want a superhero example that really, really big collar around his neck. Either that or he's wearing some sort of backpack or maybe even a jetpack that helps him fly. Um, because if you look at his stream as well, it's kind of like it looks like there are two little individual streams that are coming out of the one main stream. So it could be just the fact that he's using a jetpack to help him fly. That's a possibility. Maybe these heroes are adapted from some sort of technology of Syndrome's technology. It's possible. Now now above him, there's this little tiny guy. And he looks much smaller. I'm. It's kind of hard to tell if it's a girl or a boy. It could be like maybe a child, perhaps. Maybe this is just another like Dash or Violet or Jack kind of situation where it's like a child superhero. Maybe he has something to do with the superhero below him. Or her. It could be a her. Looking at it closely, it either looks like he or she is just really fat, or he or she is wearing some kind of dress or skirt. It could also possibly be that it could be like a stubby little robot. Another thing that Syndrome could have inspired, like a robotic engineering kind of thing, that kind of makes you think like it's possible that people could be taking from Syndrome his technological advancements and making their own things. Sliding to the left, we see Elastigirl. I'm not going to talk too much about her. She seems pretty much the same. There's not too much to say about the actual people that we know enough about. She seems to have the same powers. As you can see, her leg is really stretched out and all that. Her voice actor will also be returning, and if I didn't say so already, the voice actor of Mr. Incredible will also be returning as well to reprise both of their roles. But above Mrs. Incredible and below her are two very major portions of this that kind of interest me. Again, with the superhero silhouetted in the background, I think it's not a coincidence that they put these superheroes in there, especially the superhero to the left-hand side, the farthest left over, toward the Incredibles 2 logo thing. The one that kind of looks like she has fairy wings, and I'm going to assume that she's a she just because of the dress that it looks like she's wearing. She could also just be a robot, or he could be a robot. It could just be a very unique-looking robot character as well, just like I said that the stubbier kind of person in the top left on the other side could just be a robot. This definitely screams robot to me. Just the design, I think, is unique. It kind of looks like Phi from Skyward Sword, just the wing attachment like things and the skirt and the legs that are like stuck together. That's just my own feeling of that. Now, what really interests me, though, going toward the guy above in the top, very top area, what interests me about he or she, because it's really hard to tell just because of the cape, the body figure of this person, is that he or she is wearing a cape. And if this is a new superhero who is just arriving now out of nowhere, which I think that these are all superheroes that kind of showed up after Syndrome's death, and after the worry of the superhero extinction ended, it just makes me wonder why Edna allowed this person to get away wearing a cape if they are a new superhero. Maybe the cape has something unique about it that allows this superhero to be super, kind of like Doctor Strange's levitation cape. Maybe there's something important. It might not even be a cape at all. It could just be like a trench coat, or maybe some sort of jacket, like maybe, for an example, like Raven from Teen Titans, has that kind of like cloak that she wears. It could be something like that. It might not just be a cape, but actually like a cloak. Going down from that superhero down to the next one, on the right hand side, uh, closer to Elastigirl's leg, we see this person I'm going to assume is a woman, just because of the hair. What I'm assuming is her hair, kind of like this really long hair. I'm going to assume that her hair probably plays an integral role into her superpower. That's not definite, but I could see that being quite a unique and different kind of superpower. You know, it just shows kind of interesting quality. I don't have much to say about her. She just seems to have this interesting hairstyle, and that's all you can really get from her. It's just her hair. What I find interesting is that it doesn't look like she has any kind of head part as well. It could maybe just be like a costume, kind of similar to that weird hippie guy from Big Hero 6 who was just wearing a big mascot costume, basically. It could just be some sort of giant costume piece as well. Maybe it's not hair. I'm assuming it's hair, though. I'm just going to assume that it's hair. Moving down, we see this very, very, very small individual, probably further in the background. I don't expect that he would necessarily be small, but, you know, maybe that's his superpower. Or her superpower. Maybe the superpower that he or she has is the fact that he or she gets really small. Not like we've seen enough of that with Ant-Man and the Atom. That's not very unique. But hey, the main characters are people with speed powers, strength powers, stretchy powers, and invisibility and force field powers. Jack Jack is probably the most interesting of all of the Incredibles, and he's the youngest. Anyways. Oh, and frozen powers. I forgot Frozone. Frozen powers aren't necessarily like mainstream superheroes, but there are definitely some superheroes that have freezing powers. So yeah. And with Frozen too, it's not as unique as it was probably back in 2004 when this movie came out, to have a person who can shoot ice out of their hands. So that's what I'm going to say about those 6 characters. I have a feeling that they will play much more important roles. They seem very unique to just be in the background, you know? It just seems like they could have just easily made your generic looking superheroes to put in the background and forget about it, but especially the stubby looking one in the top left and the robot Fee looking one in the middle right section both intrigue me and make me think that there's more to these characters than meets the eye. I just want to throw something out that I just noticed now after looking at this picture. It kind of looks like the city below, in between Mr. and Mrs. Incredible, is actually on fire. I didn't notice that the first time I looked at this picture. I was just noticing it now as I looked closer toward this. It could just be a design, you know, it could just be a unique design to kind of, because the buildings are actually the same color as the area above the orange. So it could just be a way for them to show that there is a city there. It could just be like twilight, you know, kind of like midnight time, like right before night, like as the sun's going down. It could just be very dramatic. But just the way that it looks altogether kind of looks like the buildings are on fire. So that could be something that maybe the city's in danger, and that's why they have to recruit these new superheroes to kind of save them. Going a little further left toward the Violet and Jack Jack section, we see, let's start from the bottom and go to the top. We see this kind of weird looking boat thing. It doesn't necessarily look like a boat. It kind of looks like a plane that lost its wings and has like little robot feet that kind of stick into there. And why I say it's a boat, if you look very closely, you will see that there is water waves that wrap around the bottom of it and toward the back end of it as well. It could be possible that this may be some sort of like transportation device that will become very important in the story. It's possible that the Incredibles will ride on this boat to some far off world, or some far off island or some far off place that they might not have been able to reach otherwise. I'm assuming that that boat will become important since it is the complete opposite side of the Underminer's little drill, not little, but the drill that the Underminer uses is the complete opposite side of that. I feel like it has to be important since it's in this picture. Moving on from there to the little house. This looks a lot like Edna Mode's house, and that's another reason why I think Edna Mode is going to become more important. If these people above are actually new superheroes, then they're most likely going to need new super suits. So they're going to go to Edna to get those made for them. I don't know how the guy in the top right-hand corner is going to get away with getting a cape, but I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. I don't have much to talk about other than that. This could also just be, maybe it's not Edna's house, maybe it's the supervillain, maybe it's the new villain's lair, if it's not the Underminer, which I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming that the Underminer will just be a small part in the very beginning. But as we move up a little bit, we see a motorcycle with what seems to be a female character, kind of like a Catwoman-like character. It's really hard to tell. It looks like she's wearing a helmet, and it looks like she's chasing the Incredibles car, which I'm so glad is making a return to this show, to this movie. The Incredible car was probably my favorite part of the original Incredibles movie. It's a shame that it was only in like 4 minutes of the entire runtime of the movie. It was just in that action scene in the very beginning when we got introduced to Syndrome and Mr. Incredible, and he was trying to, chase the whatevers. And it's kind of a shame that we didn't see that again for the whole movie, so I'm glad to see that's making a return. I really like the Incredible car, and I even had one when I was a kid. I bought one at Walmart and came with a little Mr. Incredible. I loved it. It was so great. I had it for years. I think I sold it at like a yard sale or something eventually because it was just really old and broken down. I sold it for like $2 or something like that. I can't remember. But I really liked the Incredible car. I hope that this is not just fan service, that it's actually going to come back into the movie somehow. I feel like Mr. Incredible is being chased by whoever's on the motorcycle. Maybe that's the main supervillain now? Unsure, though. I'm not sure. Moving up, we see Violet and Jack Jack. This is something... Most of the other characters, they seem to be doing very basic things that kind of relate to them, but I think that they're going to include Jack Jack into the team a little more. They find out that he has powers, so they want to use those powers to their advantage, but they don't exactly trust him since he's like 1 year old. So they probably are going to leave him in the hands of Violet. Violet is going to use her force field powers to protect him whenever possible, because they don't necessarily trust him to use his powers very well just because he's so young. So Violet is probably going to be taking care of Jack Jack for a majority of the movie. That's just how I feel on that. That's that one image there of Violet protecting Jack Jack with a force field just makes me think that that is the case. That's what's going to be happening with Jack Jack and Violet. Alright, moving on a little bit to the left of Jack, Jack, and Violet, we see a monorail, not just a train like we saw in the original movie, a monorail. So it makes me wonder, maybe they're becoming a little more technologically advanced, or maybe just trying to look a little more Disney World friendly. I'm not sure. But I don't really have much to say about the monorail. It does seem like it's leaving the city and kind of going out and around like this entire thing. Um, I don't know. It's interesting to think of what exactly the monorail will include, because I've had kind of my own theories about all of the other vehicles and all of the other little tiny things in this, but the monorail, just maybe there could be an action scene related to the monorail. Maybe the monorail like is on a collision course with something, or is like going crazy, is uncontrollable. But yeah, that's that. What very last thing I want to talk about is the raccoon that is above Violet and Jack Jack. And this one really, really makes me scared out of my mind. Because one of the things that I don't like necessarily about modern Disney movies is they try to include way too many cute, voiceless voiceless animal characters just to get the young children involved in the movie and try and get them to laugh by doing some slapstick crazy stuff. Too many so far. I just really don't enjoy the animal characters, and I feel like that's what this raccoon represents, because there was no raccoon in the other movie. And I don't know why they would just put a raccoon in here now if it wasn't important somehow. This is just really what makes me afraid of this movie. Everything else looks great, everything else looks wonderful, but if they're going to include some silly little animal sidekick to this, what I'm hoping will be a great movie, a great sequel to the original, which is my favorite Disney Pixar movie, I just feel like it's going to ruin it. It's going to be like the Minions, or it's going to be like the stupid chicken from Moana, or what's his name, the elk from Frozen, or Pascal, the iguana from Tangled. It just really annoys me. Oh my gosh. I hate that they only put them in there to get the children involved, and then these animal protagonists, these animal sidekicks dominate, or these cutesy little sidekicks dominate the advertisement of the movie, because that's what the children want to see, but it's not what they want to see. I saw the original Incredibles when I was 8, and I couldn't have loved it more. I didn't need some stupid animal sidekick to get me involved. I didn't need some stupid slapstick character that was going to keep me visually interested in the movie. The movie itself was already great. So I really hope that if they do have this animal character in there somehow, that it's only minor and it won't dominate the story, it won't dominate the advertisement, it won't dominate anything, it won't become like a meme like the Minions have. Oh my god, I hate all of the Minion related things. They're just everywhere. They were fine in the first Despicable Me movie, but they just they became so much. They became too much. Oh my gosh. So I just really hope that if they do include this animal character, that it is slightly less involved than other animal characters in the past for Disney movies. Overall, though, I would say I would give this poster A 10 out of 10 on the hype level. I'm very excited to see what this movie entails. I'm very excited to see if any of these small little theories. I know that um, there's not much you can tell here, but a picture, whatever the quote is, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's it. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I probably said my fair share of words about this. Um, I just am excited to see what is going to happen. I know that it's almost a year away, but I cannot wait. All right.